Hozumi Hasegawa stood at ringside that night, a quiet observer with the sharp eyes of a former world champion. He watched Akhmadaliev walk toward Naoya Inoue with the confidence of a man who had never truly been broken. But in the very first exchanges, Hasegawa sensed a shift in the air. He saw the challenger's rhythm hesitate, just a fraction, as the first jabs found their mark. It was not just speed, it was precision, the kind that bends a fighter's will before the crowd even notices. Hasegawa later said the change in Akhmadaliev's face came almost instantly. The mask of determination cracked after barely a minute of action. It was as if Inoue had reached into his opponent's chest and pulled out the plan, the belief, the hope. The jab, simple and sudden, made everything else unravel. And once the jab takes your confidence, the rest of the fight is survival. Akhmadaliev tried to press forward. He lowered his stance, hunted for the body, tried to find an angle Inoue would not see. But every time he moved, the monster met him with the same cruel efficiency. A piston-like left, a right hand waiting, feet that never wasted a step. The fight was already lost in those moments when no one was yet counting the rounds. Hasegawa described it as watching a man run into a wall he could not see. Each jab was a brick. Each counter was the mortar sealing the cracks. The ring shrank until it was a cage, and Akhmadaliev had nowhere left to breathe. The crowd roared, but to Hasegawa it was the sound of inevitability. When the bell ended each round, Akhmadaliev's shoulders sagged a little more. He glanced toward his corner, but there was no answer there. The jab kept slicing through the distance, denying him the comfort of rhythm. He swung wider, missed bigger, felt the weight of every second. It was the kind of fight that teaches a boxer what despair really feels like. Inoue, for his part, never hurried. His eyes stayed cold and clear. He knew he owned the night long before the judges' cards were needed. This was not about a single knockout punch. It was about the slow destruction of another champion's certainty. After the fight, Hasegawa spoke softly to reporters. He said the change in expression was everything. The moment that jab landed clean, Akhmadaliev's belief disappeared, he explained. It was like watching a door close. From there, the rest was just time. Those words carried the weight of a man who had been in that position himself. The conversation naturally turned to Nakatani Junto. A rising star, tall for the weight, blessed with reach and power. Many wonder if he could be the one to finally topple Inoue. Hasegawa did not dismiss the idea outright, but he issued a warning that cut through the excitement. If Nakatani cannot take away that jab, Hasegawa said, he cannot win. He repeated it, slower, like a verdict. That jab is not just a weapon. It is Inoue's heartbeat. Kill the jab, or the fight is over. It was a challenge and a prophecy in one. Because everyone who steps in with Inoue learns the same lesson. The jab is the key, and the key is nearly impossible to turn. Nakatani has physical gifts. He is long, he is patient, and he hits with authority. But Hasegawa knows that none of that matters if he cannot disrupt the rhythm at its source. A taller fighter may think he can stay outside, but Inoue closes space like a shadow. A counterpuncher may think he can time the right hand, but the left comes first, faster. To beat Inoue, you must risk everything. You must meet the jab with fire, not caution. You must be willing to walk through punishment to impose your will. And even then, the odds remain brutal. Hasegawa did not sugarcoat it. It's like trying to fight a tide with your bare hands. As the night wore on, fans replayed the highlights on their phones. They marveled at the precision, the balance, the calm violence of Inoue's performance. But Hasegawa kept thinking of that first minute, that tiny shift in Akhmadaliev's eyes. Because that was the real fight. The rest was only confirmation. When asked again about Nakatani's chances, Hasegawa paused. He's talented, he said. He has youth, reach, and power. But talent alone is not enough. He must prepare for a war of minds. He spoke like a man who had studied the monster and knew the price of even a single mistake. Inoue punishes hesitation. Nakatani must fight without fear of pain or failure. And still, the jab remains the ghost in every conversation. It is the first strike in the last memory. It breaks balance, blinds counters, and measures distance with merciless accuracy. Every fighter thinks he can handle it, until the moment it touches him. Then everything changes, as it did for Akhmadaliev under the bright lights. Inoue left the ring that night barely marked. A champion who makes violence look like art. Hasegawa shook his head with something like awe. He is beyond the usual calculations, he said quietly. And if Nakatani cannot erase that jab, he will join the rest. So the question lingers in the boxing world. Can anyone kill that jab? Can anyone walk through the storm and break the monster's rhythm? For now, the answer remains hidden in the shadow of that left hand. And every contender, Nakatani included, must reckon with it before the first bell ever rings.